always go towards growth, always be moving, and surround yourself with the best possible people who are better and smarter than you are, and good things will happen.
We're here with Josh Mattison from Disney Advertising. Josh, you've been with Disney for 10 years now. Briefly, over that time, how has life changed for you and the industry?
Well, I think it's been so dynamic, and when I started, we were focused on mobile games and social media platforms, and where we are today with streaming is incredibly exciting. And I think for advertisers, the complement that we have with our streaming platforms, as well as our sports rights, is pretty incredible. I think the innovations that we've done, particularly around measurement solutions and automations, are also just been incredible. So it hasn't been boring. It's been an incredible 10 years, and the past couple of years of innovation and what it means for advertisers, as well as consumers, have been inspiring.
So now that Disney Plus has an advertising supported tier, does that increase the complexity for your business, or how do you try to minimize?
Yeah.
Just it could become exponentially complicated, no?
Well, we're fortunate is that we're coming from a place of scale with Hulu. So with Hulu, when I say scale, what I mean scale is first in audiences. We have over 100 million people using Hulu on a monthly basis in the US. We have an advertising business that has over 5,000 advertisers in streaming already today. And we have a significant amount of advertisers transacting through automated methods, programmatic and advanced measurement solutions. We take all that expertise and apply that to Disney Plus on day one. Now, what we've seen since the launch of Disney Plus is strong consumer adoption. We've seen 40% of our new subscribers choosing the AVOD tier, and we've seen a 10x increase in the daily capacity for advertisers in terms of impressions. So you take all the experience that we have with Hulu, you apply that to Disney Plus, and consumers are clearly responding to the ad-supported tier as an offering, and we're just really excited. So I don't know if I would describe it as complexity. I would say it's additional opportunity. It's an opportunity for our advertisers. It's an opportunity for consumer choice, and it's been exciting.
And just briefly on the technical side, you introduced a brand new, fully rebuilt ad stack.
Yeah, the Disney ad server is really core to what we're doing. It allows us for speed and velocity and really to shape the marketplace and streaming with advertisers. That first started on Hulu last summer. So before we even launched on Disney Plus, we had all the experience on Hulu to then apply that to Disney Plus. But the Disney ad server is a core part, of how we operate things, and things have been going great.
So you're here at Cannes Lions. What are the key conversations you're having? What are marketers asking for? What are they interested in most in what Disney can offer?
Yeah, so when I was coming here, I was thinking about what is Cannes all about, and I think the first word that comes to mind is just inspiration. And a lot of that happens when you sit down with CMOs and our president Rita Farrow, and they're shaping the agenda for the next 12 to 18 months. And the topics are pretty consistent. They're about creativity and integration, and what can our brands and our content do with some of the top brands in the world. They're certainly about measurement, data, consumer privacy, and how do you deliver on a world where advertisers' goals can be met through new tools and automation that match consumer expectations around privacy. And so I think, in such a condensed period, you can have so many meetings with the top CMOs in the world. We're able to talk with our top platform partners about and setting the agenda with them. And then you're also able to talk about the things that are important to us as an organization, right? And I specifically highlight kind of diversity, equity, inclusion. Rita participated in a main stage event yesterday, and it was with Dawn Staley, who's a three-time Olympic gold medalist and the current coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks basketball team. And Dawn told some incredible stories about what it is to negotiate a multi-million-dollar contract in women's athletics, and it's really inspiring. So I think in a very condensed period, you're able to have incredibly elevated conversations. I'm a little bit exhausted, kind of 3 days in, but I would also say it's incredibly productive. And I think that's two ways. I think marketers feel that way. I think the whole ecosystem feels that way. And certainly at Disney, we feel like it's an incredibly productive week.
Now you mentioned being inspired here. What's inspiring you creatively, either here or just generally? You know, what's getting
Yeah.
your creative juices
I mean, I'll
going?
speak first very, very personally. You know, the focus on women's sports, you know, as an organization, what ESPN does for women's sports, what it means for our business. You know, Rita shared we had over 50% revenue growth with the NCAA women's finals this year.
It was great.
You know, and it's just, and I am married to a former Division I athlete, and I have a 7-year-old who's a future Division I athlete, or at least thinks she is. So I think, you know, equity in women's sports is a pretty important topic, and it's one that hits me personally, and the business of it is pretty exciting. So I think we're finally here where you see, you know, revenue growing from a publisher size. You see, you know, coaches and athletes, you know, getting making progress, I would say, in pay equity, and that's inspiring. And I work with a bunch of very strong women, and that inspires me every day. And you know, and yeah, I think that inspires me.
Now, shifting gears just a touch, where are advertisers in the macroeconomic environment
Yeah,
we're in today?
it's been a year.
Things are up, things are down, things are sideways.
I think you just said it. I mean, it's incredibly dynamic. You know, we look at our business daily. We talk with our advertisers daily, and it's dynamic. You know, and it's been that way really since almost a year ago, kind of at this point. And you see different categories behaving different ways based on what's going on. So I think it continues to be dynamic. But I think in that dynamic world, when you pair kind of the scale and strength and quality that we have in streaming for advertisers, along with what we're doing in sports and the sports rights that we have, and layering on top of that measurement solutions and automation that are very forward-looking and partnerships that are very forward-looking, you know, we're enjoying these conversations. Now, there's a speed and a velocity happening in the business that I wouldn't say was the case, you know, a couple of years ago when we were coming kind of out of post-COVID. But I think it's just dynamic is what I would say in a word.
When you say speed and velocity, what do you mean exactly?
Everything. I think it's the velocity of conversations that you're having with advertisers about what's driving their business. I think it's your ability to respond quickly to what's going on in your business and in theirs. So I just think that the pace of change in advertising, you know, it's exciting, but it's definitely at a you know, we're kind of on the cusp, I think, and of, you know, just even more change in the industry. And that's something we're very comfortable and excited with. You know, we're playing to a place of what matters, not just today, but also in the future, and we're excited about that.
So Disney had the big Upfront presentation about a month ago. What are the conversations like in the Upfront negotiations?
Yeah, I think, you know, in a word, I would just say productive. You know, again, I think the mix of streaming, sports, measurement and automation solutions that we as Disney Advertising come to our partners with, I think they find a lot of value in that. So, you know, I think it's, you know, it's either very productive, and let's see, the Upfront was, 6 weeks ago at this point. But it's, you know, it's made a lot of progress since then.
So, I mean, you've got a lot of, I mean, you cover a lot of ground.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot of solutions in a lot of different areas.
Mm-hmm.
But are advertisers asking for, you know, lower CPMs or something like that? Are they looking for a better cost value dynamic?
I think it comes back to value and results. You know, if you can demonstrate to advertisers, actually, I'd say volume and results and scale. You know, if you look at what advertisers are looking for, they're looking for partners who can bring them the biggest possible reach with the greatest possible efficiency and effectiveness. And they're looking to a world where there's very few companies that can do that at the scale of the Walt Disney Company and Disney Advertising. So, you know, those are the conversations that we have, I would say, is very value focused, measurement focused. And, you know, when you're having those conversations, those are the right ones to be having. How
might AI be a factor in potentially driving new opportunities for advanced advertising?
Yeah, I think, first of all, any new technology cycle like this is incredibly exciting for its long-term potential. I think, like, first, you know, in our business, Disney Advertising, we're coming from a place where we're already using machine learning models actually as part of our audience graph, where we talk about we have 250 million identity signals that are privacy compliant with consumers. We resolve to 110 million households in the US, and then we have machine learning models on top of that. So if you think about AI or generative AI, it does become a step change over time that impacts the business. That's certainly one area. But then I also think it's all aspects of advertising, from the creative of advertising to the delivery logic of advertising to the measurement logic of advertising, can all benefit from an intelligence layer that will develop over time. But it's not going to be something that instantaneously changes, our industry.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be in a position to learn, and we're, talking to folks to learn about what's possible. So I just get excited about it in the context of kind of how technology has impacted media, many, kind of innovation cycles. This is the next one.
Yeah, but it doesn't change the fundamental mechanics of advertising, getting the right message
To the right
with the
consumer,
right creative.
the right creative.
Yeah.
Yes, does not.
I mean, are there any innovations you guys are working on vis-a-vis formats or different? I mean, I know Hulu had the pause ad. That was very, very exciting when that came out.
I think about the first, when I go to formats, I go talking about how do you get the right message to the right consumer at the right time. Is that on any given month, we're processing over 50,000 versions of creative in our advertising business. And already we're delivering different creatives to different audiences based on that identity graph that I mentioned earlier. I think going to a place where the creative can be adjusted to have different impacts and then ultimately kind of anticipate what you or I might be interested in based on what they know about me is pretty interesting. So then you get to some predictive models of creative advertising to consumer outcomes. And ultimately, I think that's going to be good for me personally, and I think it's going to be good for our industry.